Okay. You want a lot of trades. So you have there's a 6,000 and you have a green red here. Red green. That's what you don't need it there. You need it over here at the 4-1. So there's the engulf right there. You don't need you can't. So if you're going to use this as your engulf, if you're going to use this as your 4-1, so then you use a 24, and then this would be your 6, and then you would look for engulfs at the bottom or tops of the. See, here's an engulf down, but we're not looking at this as engulfing. So the 4-1, the dot one, we originally the way we did it was, pick a chart 4-1, that dot, there's your entry. Now we just put in the engulf. So once it engulfs and the pullback, there's your entry. 15 times 4 is 6,000. And 4 times 3 is 12, which ends up over here. So like this green red here didn't work out, but this one here, if you look, oh, it was a couple days. It was a couple days ago because I was doing it off the 12. So I just had a 12 up, and so if it engulfed, then I would just take the next trade. But you can't do that. You have to have a directional chart, and then those have to be 4-1. Has to be the engulf. Because if you notice on the video, it says the high and low points are your engulfs. Will create a turning point. So your engulf creates a turning point. Yeah. So I'm taking as you're trying to find it where the bottom of the stick shadow is. So that would be when it pulled back and you got it engulfed. That would be the end of your stick shadow. Yeah, you can because your stop loss is way down here. But to be safer, you take a 114 and at 1256, a 124. 1256, watch this. There's it is right there. So that would be your dot. You have an engulf closed, the dot, and then your first pullback would be right here, your red green. So what you're doing is you're taking it just confirms the down, up, the fail, and then the up. So this engulf confirmed. So the minute you get a pullback, you take this long. And you can see they went 4 points. I'm really thinking about saying for 4 points because what you also want is you want your 4-1 chart to be a failed pivot. So when this right here failed to break that and then engulfed, you knew it was going to go at least to the highs. It should always recoup to the highs. Yeah. Your failed pivot should most of the time test a prior high. And you see it tested and went back. And then your first fail. And then if you see this one here didn't confirm because you didn't have an engulf here. So this green red, you had an engulf right there. See the engulf in the pullback? So if you look at that point, it was the end of the day. No, it's got to. So an engulf has to be. It closes. So this is an up candle. This candle has to close. It has to open and close and do the whole bar. Yep. No, forget the stick shuttle. No, 100%. Just the body. That's an engulf. So the pullback, and that's it right there. So you enter here and you put your stop loss here and you let it ride. You have to. You can't enter here and have a 4 point stop loss because your stop loss is way your stop loss is way up here at '05. Yeah, so you don't. Yep. Yeah, they do, but if you want the safe deal, if you want the safe, see, here's a. Yeah, you're just trading price action. That's all you're doing. Yeah, the bigger the time chart, the bigger the stop loss you got to have, and that ain't happening. Oh yeah, and it wasn't working. But then once I put the 4 to 1, once I put the 4 to 1, it just turned the lights on because you can look. Look at here's an. You can look. You can go through this whole thing. Here's an engulf up. Here's an engulf up. Here's an engulf down. I mean, I'm not. I'm just saying. Look at all the engulfs. Look at that engulf and then the pullback, and look at that drop. Yeah, you do. I mean, at the beginning you can. It's hard, but then it slows down, and you can. You can. It's easy. Yeah. I mean, but then but then you also got the 12. I mean, you're you got to really focus because you're looking at the 12 as your direction, and then the green red or red green has to match up with the direction. So they both have to be red or both have to be green. So because the 32 4 to 1 is a 3,000. So if I get a red green over here, I'm only looking at the 3 to 1 for the engulf. If I get the red green on the 6, then I'm looking at the 15. I mean, you can look at any charts. I just found that the 12 and the 6 give you more setups because you can go the 12-24, but the problem is your red greens are not going to be there. See, here's one, but that's pre-market, pre-market, pre-market. So you got one here, one here, one there. So you only have four. If you do the 12 and 6, you got a lot more. No, the directional for the green reds and red greens. You can use any chart you want as long as your confirmations are 4-1. So it could be a 48,000, but your confirmation is going to be the 24, which is 4-1. No, the 12. So if you use a 48,000, your 12,000 will be your engulf confirms. Yeah. So no, so say you want to use a 48,000 as your direction, okay? Just to go 48,000 volume. That's a big one. So then you got to use 12,000. You're not going to get a lot of trades. See, that's what I'm talking about. So what you're doing is you're looking for red greens. So like here's one here at 819. At 819, you had an engulf right here. Because you're looking for a red green. Here's a green red, two red greens, which is the first one here, that engulfed, this one engulfed. This is the bottom of that stick shuttle because they engulfed. So where would you get in? Well, you would have to at 750, and then you use your uni. $750 at what time? Yeah, look at, but then you're looking for your entries here. Once that candle closed, you're looking for a pullback on the uni, which would be somewhere in here. No. So then your first pullback would be here. So here's your entry. Still gave you 4 points. But bigger stop losses though. Yeah. The whole point is it's set. I mean, this is set. I mean, this is the way to do it. You look for red greens and green reds on your bigger time frames and you confirm them 4-1s. You don't need no more indicators. You don't need no other bullshit. This is what it is. Don't need his bullshit. Because if you look, there was 4 days, the ES was down for 4 days. When the hell was he getting in? He wasn't trading. He's not trading. Yeah, I love the 12-6. I mean, you can go for 4 points if you want. 12-6, yeah, you can go. You can do a couple trades a day because you're getting in right when it's confirming. See, like where's that 6,000? They all cover 4 points. See that entry right there? See how your pullback, your stop loss is 2 points, which is the top of that. And then it goes from there down to there. On the uni. You're looking at a green red here on these two charts. This one you're looking, so when you got a green red on the 6, you look for confirmation on the 15, which is a 4-1. There's your engulf. Now you need a pullback. This is what the uni does. It gives you that right there. This was your pullback to enter. See, this went to 04. This went a little bit above 04. That went a little bit above 04. So that's your what it is. It's your first down, which broke a plane, the pullback, and enters. Remember a couple months ago I was telling you about this deal on the uni? When it makes a lower low, then it pulls back. That's your entry. Now we got the engulf and the pullback, and it's the same thing on the uni, and boom. Yeah, somewhere like 62.50. But your stop loss is right here, and your entry is right here. So you don't have much. What is it, like a point and a half? And then it just goes down, fumbles around, and then it goes. This was 310. This was after the market closed, but it still works. You can see after the market, it works. It works on any chart. I like yeah, doing markets. I like a 6 minute and a 3 minute. I like a 6 minute. Yep. Watch. And then 90 would be your 4-to-1 to the 6. And then get rid of this for a minute. And then 45 would be your second to the 3. So at 12, here's the red, green, green, red. What time was that? That was at 12:18. So there's your engulf. And then your pullback would have been your. That was a tough. That was a tough trade because I think Trump tweeted something. Wait a minute. That ain't it. That ain't it. 1 second. That ain't it. That's that right there. No. So this one here is right here. So this didn't give an engulf, but it did give a dodging. A dodgy too at the top is a reversal right here on the 90 seconds. See, on minute and second charts, you get a lot of dodgies where the candle opens and closes at the same spot. Right there. But you still had a dodgy and then a pullback here, which was your entry. The uni would pick it up. Watch. This pullback. There's a pullback right there. See it turn, it went blue, black, and then it went yellow. So your entry is right there. Right above it. Yep. Because if it breaks that area, it's going to go up. So you don't, you want it to stair step down. Yeah, you'd want to get the hell out. So if it breaks this area, probably I put 2 ticks above right there. If it breaks that, then it makes a higher high. So then you don't want the trade no more. But if as long as it keeps stepping down, making a higher low. It works. I mean, it works on any time frames. See, here's a good inch. Look at this one. There's your engulf. Engulf right there. But this one gave you an engulf and it gave you an M pattern. Watch. See the M pattern? Green, red, green, red. So your entry would be, your pullback entry would be right there. Let's see, at 10:40. Yeah, but watch this. There's your entry. It made a higher high and it broke the low and it failed to make the high. This is your entry and your stop loss is right there. You got to put the stuff. Well, you should already known because the it already made a lower low, so the pullback was for your short. So you already told you the uptrend's done and the downtrend's going. You got to trust that, and you got to trust the engulf. Oh yeah, it went back against you, but you got to keep that stop loss, and if it takes it out, it takes it out. If not, then no. Yeah, I do 10. I do 2.5 point stop loss to a 4 point gain. 2.5 point stop loss. Uh, yeah, yeah, of course. You're gonna fall. Once it goes down 2 points, 2.5, you got to go to break even. You don't want it to call away against you. But normally you shouldn't even mess with it. You should keep your stop loss. But it works on any chart. I mean, it is really good. I mean, the 4-to-1, when I put it all together the other day, I'm like, oh my God. When I talked to you last time, I'm like, that engulfs don't work. They don't work because what's happening is sometimes, like, if I was just using this chart and see you got an engulf here, and then something will go down and boom up. And I'm like, that something's wrong here. Something's wrong. So what? And it's like, here's an engulf up. And then you take the trade here, you get stopped out. I'm like, son of a duck. So I'm like, okay. So I went back and read the video and it goes, it's the high and low of a move. And I'm like, well, then I put a 4-to-1. I'm like, this has to be your directional chart. This ain't where you look for. If you're going to use this chart, you got to have a 24-minute chart as your directional and this as your entry chart. You can't just use it by itself because you'll get stopped out. Because like here's an engulf up. You enter here, boom, you got stopped out and it goes down. So you can't use you if you're gonna the engulfs are when on the 4-to-1s. It's the 4-to-1. It's a 4 chart, not the one, not the directional chart. It's the confirmation chart. I figured that out the next day after I talked to you. Yeah, because I lost. I'm like, okay, that ain't it. So then I stopped trading and I'm like, okay, let me figure this out. I went back to the video and sure as shit, it's the high and low of a move. And I'm like, well, that's finding the stick shadow. So then I got rid of the 6-to-1s and the 8-to-1s. I threw all those out and I'm thinking in my mind, 4-to-1s. And that's what it was, 4-to-1. 4-to-1 will tell you when to enter. Yep. 4-to-1s. And it works on any chart. You can use that chart. You can use these 3 charts if you want. You can use a 3-chart deal. Yeah, so if you get a red green here, you confirm it over here, enter on here. Yeah, you wouldn't get yeah, but I'm telling you, you can. But you're not going to get a lot of red greens on a 6 minute. So you can get. No, what I'm saying is so if you're going to use this chart as your engulfing chart, you got to have a 4-to-1 chart, which this is a 6 minute. You got to have a 24 telling you where's the pullback, because a red green, if you look, a red green tells you where the pullback is. So this is your pullback, right? This is where you want to confirm the engulf to go down because that's your high point. So you can't confirm it on the 6 minute alone. You got to have something. So the 4-to-1 chart confirms it for you. So when you get when it's pulling back here, up here, when it's coming up here, this is that red green candle and it closed. So if that's going to be the end of the move, you're going to have an engulf to go back down. So that's your engulf and your pullback, and that's your entry for this. That's why you need a red green or green red chart to confirm, and then 4-to-1 will confirm those pullbacks. Because he said in the video, it's a high point or a low point is when you take the trades. So the high point of this chart is a green red. This is your high point right here. Yeah. So how do I confirm that's the end of that stick shadow in that move? 4-to-1. Right? This one? So what they were in the video, what it's saying is, okay, I'm looking for what it does is it pulls back to a support or resistance, a resistance area. That's when you want to start looking for the deal, right? You want to start looking for the engulf to go down at a resistance area. That's what the video says. So what you can do here is you can put the uni here, put it on 8-to-1, 8, and where do you get? It goes right back to 08. That's your resistance area. Yeah, because if you listen to the video, he starts looking for a engulf down when it hits a resistance area. He looks for a reversal up when it hits a support area. So you would use it on the 4-to-1 because that's where you want to find where that stick shadow ends. And it worked. So it went right back to the Marine math. You had your engulf pullback, and then your entry, you could have ran it to the 08 and then get out. Once I get good at this, that's what I'm going to do is run it to the 08. Yeah, and just get out. It don't trend. But it also catches reversals too. So if it's hitting Murray math level, okay, say like that candle didn't do it. So see this green candle right here? So you had an engulf here. You had an engulf, the green candle engulfed the red. This is your pullback, and then here's your W pattern up. That was a long. Right here on the right there. This candle engulfed the red. Here's your pullback, and this is your long entry. That's a W pattern. So when you get your first leg engulf and then it pulls back, there's your double pattern. This pullback is just your entry because it already engulfed here. That tells you it's the bottom of the move. It's not on the no, but it'll tell you it'll reverse. It'll reverse up. I'm telling you. Look at this. Engulf, pullback, entry. See it may have stopped you out, but your stop loss is way down here. It all depends what the uni did at that time. What time was it? 9:40. I don't think I don't think you're gonna. I think it was okay. I think I saw that one. Yeah. See, because yeah, you would have got stopped out. because that was actually your entry there. And then it went right 2 points, and then it went straight up. But that's just a revert. That's a against a trend trade. You don't want that. No. No, I wouldn't, because it's not with the trend. No, I wouldn't have took that because that's against the trend on the 6. No, I was just showing you. I was showing it in M pattern. You could have if you want, if you're a reversal trader, which I'm not. I'm a direct. See this green red right here on the 6? Look at that engulfing pullback right here. Yeah, right here. The engulf pullback entry, boom. It engulfed. Yeah, it evened the bottom. It was even at the bottom. Yeah, it's an engulf. It closed right at the even, so the pullback was for shorting. So that was his top of that stick shot on this pullback. 9 right there. It was making higher highs, right? Here's your engulfing candle, which closed. This stick shadow here is your pullback up. And the uni already told you because it made a lower low. This broke that low. So the pullback, as long as it don't break here, is your entry for short. Boom. 114. 124. So what 2 does, usually it's 114, right? I put the open offset as 2. What it does is makes the candle bigger. I like the candle bigger, so I put the offset, I put 124. So your uni is confirming your 4-to-1 chart, your 4 chart, which is, see what I'm saying? No, you don't. It already told you because the uni broke this point. So when this point broke, it made a lower low. And you have an engulf over here. Your engulf told you once that closed there, the engulf told you, okay, you're done. Yeah, but look where the Murray math is on the uni. It's at 8/8. So it made a lower low. You have an engulf down. So now the uni already told you it's a downtrend because it was making uptrends here. And then it broke the uptrend and it pulled back. As long as it don't break here, plus the engulf, I mean, that's 100% sure trade it's going to go down. No, it's a trend trade because look at the 6. It's a green red. The trend is down. You got a yellow dot and it's downtrend. So I'm a trend trader to whatever direction the 6 is telling me if I use a 6. Yeah, that W pattern over here, I was just showing you that was against the trend. That was not a trade at all. I would take. That was a fake out. So what they were doing, I mean, it worked if you're a trend a reversal trader, but I'm not. I want green reds in the direction it's telling me my little. Yeah, it's hard to do the trend trade. You don't know where the hell it's going to turn. Look at this green red right here. Green red. Engulf, pull back, short, boom. All you need is an engulf right there. So the engulf told you that stick shadow on the 6 was done. So even if that didn't give you the deal, that would have given it to you. It entered here. Boom. These are huge, man. Huge is that I figured it out. Where's that? How many times have we talked and I said, I got to figure out where that stick shadow ends? 4-1 with the engulf. Yep. And that tells us that the stick shadow has ended on that trend trade down. Because like it's coming up here. It's like shit, 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 shit. Where's this going to end? Right there. Right there. The engulf. And that was at 852. So you go 852 here. Uh, that was kind of a stupid one though. Let's see. Yeah, right there. So you wouldn't have got into way over here. Yeah, because it was making higher highs, lower low, higher high, lower low, higher low. This one right here, this one. Yeah, but that was 77. Your stop loss is way up here. It would have been way up here. You'd have been fine. It would have been up here. Yeah, but you weren't going to get in there. So your net green red. So it was here at 57. Yeah, you wouldn't have got into here because this is when it confirmed the green red right here. Yeah, your entry would have been right here. Yeah, because it went to 78.25, which is 78.25 right here. It went down, made a lower low. It made a fail, and then that was your entry right there. I mean, these minute charts are a little harder to trade because they're minutes. That's why I like the tick charts. They're tick. I do tick. Yeah. Well, if you want to trade after hours, you can use 6-3 because you can trade. See, here's a W pattern here. This was at 20. This is like midnight almost. I mean, there's trades. Here's an engulf. Look at this one. This is after hours. So this is an engulf down. Here's your pullback. Here's your entry to short. 2 points. It works. It works in after hours too. So if you want to trade, if I ever want to trade after hours, I would do 6-3. See, here's an engulf up and then it works. Do you really? But that's that's how you find the stick shadows, tops and bottoms. I don't want to make millions. I just want to make 3, 4 trades a day. How's your job going? Wow. The boss still being an asshole? Yeah, I'd get rid of that shit real quick. Starting Monday, I'm done with Spark. Yep. Yeah, I mean, I can go out. I'll do it like on the weekends, but I'm gonna start trading this more and more. The first half an hour, it's almost impossible to trade with any system. Yeah, I mean, it's almost impossible. So what you got to do is you got to wait. And then, I mean, I could get up like at 7 o'clock and come on and be on at 7:30 and I could still make my 4 trades because that's when it really slows down at 7 to 7:30. And then you got all afternoon, all day to trade still. All I need is a couple red greens and green reds. I mean, yeah, you don't, and then afternoons when people go to lunch, it slows down. I mean, Friday was slow. It was really slow. And I think not at the open. I mean, but in the because I got up late. But there was a deal. The other thing you got to watch Trump. Trump's a piece of shit, so you got to watch him. No, he just fought. But I think he tweeted something at the end, almost the end of the day, and then it spiked. And I don't. I don't even watch Mancini anymore. I don't need nothing. What I got here is what I'm going with. I thought about doing it with him, and I'm like, no, because there's going to be days I'm going to sit here doing nothing because I could use the engulf thing with him if it engulfs, but